Welcome to Postcards from Palisade, the podcast about the people and places that make this slice of Western Colorado wonderful. I'm Lisa McNamara, and I have a little cold today. If you live in the Palisade area, Tammy Craig probably knows what the inside of your house looks like. 20 years of helping people sell and buy houses will do that to you. An entrepreneur at heart, when the space next to her brokerage, Fruit and Wine Real Estate, became available, Tammy also added gallery owner to her resume. The Craig Gallery recently had their grand reopening, with a new format, new artists, and new hours. I caught up with Tammy in her office in downtown Palisade to hear more about her art and the artists who are showing at the Craig Gallery. We also talked about her path back to Palisade, why Palisade is such an unusual place to buy and sell real estate, and the surprising reasons that she, as a seller of real estate, isn't very into subdivisions, Airbnbs, or VRBOs. We also touched on the tensions that longtime residents have felt as so-called city people, like yours truly, have moved into Palisade over the past few years. But not in a Facebook comment kind of way, more in a thought-provoking way that should make us newbies pause and realize that, if we're very lucky, we'll be saying the same kind of things 20 or 30 years from now. Keep listening to hear all that and more on today's Postcard from Palisade.
I'm Tammy Craig. That's it. That's how I would introduce myself. I don't usually lead with what I do.
Okay.
I usually just lead with me. So.
I always have the train in the background. So what do you do?
I'm a realtor first. Fruit and Wine Real Estate opened in 2004 in the part-time Chamber of Commerce building that was over in the old bank building. Mm-hmm. And my broker came from Remax Two Rivers, and she wanted to open out here, so her and I opened the office, and then I bought it from her in 2007. Okay. And I've been doing that ever since. We were over by the distillery. Mm-hmm. In the old train depot over there. The guy who bought it, it was run down and he redid it, and he was a builder, and so we worked for him for a while. Okay. But it was a real fun place to be. And then the distillery came in shortly after that and grew their business right there. Mm-hmm. And the worst part about it was the train, because you get fight or flight right there. So my door was right there, and I'd think, I'm okay, but you're right in that pattern. I would have to fight the urge to go, I need to run now. Mm-hmm. So we did that for a long time. And then it was 2009. Diana Fritzler and Mary Mansfield, who are friends of mine, had the Twisted Brick Art Studio here. Mm-hmm. Dave and Mel Treadway owned the building, and they bought it. He put his workshop in the back, and the artists came here. My lease was up over by the distillery, so they asked me if I would put my office here. So we were up front where it is now. Mm-hmm. And then when they left, there was a Etsy shop over there. Okay. For a couple years. Very busy Etsy shop. But it wasn't open to the public. It was all mail order stuff. And then when they left, I talked with Dave and Mel, and they said, we don't care what you do, you just do it. And so I thought, okay, I'll put a gallery over there. Uh-huh. And so we opened as an exhibition space in 2016 on that side. So real estate comes first. Mm-hmm. It's the one that supports and sponsors the art gallery. Mm-hmm. And then I'm an artist, so we just did that, and we did exhibitions, and anybody could enter, and we had themed shows. Mm-hmm. So I think it's still going to be on our website when we revamp. If people want to look at past exhibitions, they're very cool. And so we were doing that.
Okay. So how did you decide to open a gallery? Like, how was that something you always wanted to do, or what?
I'm an entrepreneur first. I thought, as I I was a librarian in a past life, and you don't make much money doing what I was doing, which was in a small town in Grand Lake.
Oh.
And then I was librarian in Granby, and the opportunity to be a computer consultant came up because there wasn't anybody to do it. So we had to take our library computers and haul them all the way to Denver, haul them back, and I was like, well, that doesn't work. So I just started kind of teaching myself how to work on what we had.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had people start asking me to go home with them and help them, and so I started doing that at night. And then I switched over to doing that. I did that for about 3 years, IT stuff in Grand County. And then I bought a restaurant.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when I went, I think I'm an entrepreneur. Because, opportunities arise and you go, I think I could do that. I fully understand when I can't.
Yeah.
An opportunity arrives and I go, yeah, that's a good idea, but it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But Mary and Diana encouraged me. I've been painting and drawing since I was little. So I talked to Diana and she said, well, you're not a serious artist till you have at least 15 pieces. So I set about doing 15 pieces. Once I did that, I went, okay. All right, so I was actually in the Blue Pig Gallery for a while. I did that for a year.
Okay.
But it kind of interfered with my real estate practice, which is where I make money. Mm-hmm. So when this came open, I was like, okay, I'll just invite people to come here so I can do my real estate practice and play art for a little
right
bit.
Next door. That's really nice. That's convenient.
It's really nice.
Yeah, and I did see all the past shows still on the website.
Did you see the Fear one?
I didn't look through that one. Should I check that out?
Yes, it was one of the first ones. So the first one we did was flowers, and then mud, and then I did a Fear show in October. I've had 2 of those, but the first one was the best one for sure. When you do it that way, it's younger artists who are poor, so they just can pay the entry fee for 3 months and do it. This is a different type of gallery operation. The format is different. But, so I had not machetes. What you cut chicken up with.
Oh, like oh gosh.
What are they called?
I want to say hatchet, but that's not right either. Like a cleaver.
Cleaver.
Okay.
And some young artists did like tattoo work on cleavers.
Oh my gosh.
And they were in a box. That was beautiful. And I had some gourd work. And Jasmine Waples was one of the first ones that came with me, and Sandy McCabe. She was a client of mine from real estate. And when I sold their house, I was kind of helping them move a little bit, and because she's a friend, and I was like, why aren't you showing this stuff? So she came in with us, and there was some people who on and off, there's about 3 or 4 of them that are in there now, have shown with us on and off over time. So it was fun.
Yeah, and I love that idea of just here's a topic and seeing how everybody interprets it.
So normally I did this, cars and stuff, but then when I started doing themes, like one of them, Jim Cox, he's lived here for a while and he's a photographer. I think he's retired now, but he used to do all our real estate work and took our office photos and a lot of other photos. So we did a five photos, so the artist had 5 photos as reference of Jim's, and then everybody did something, and so that's one of those.
Oh, that's so
I
cool.
had just come from Washington, D.C., in the Hirshhorn Museum of Contemporary Art, Smithsonian Museum. I was inspired, so that's bubble wrap, and he had a photo it was winter photo, and it was leaves that were crystallized over rocks at like a dry stream bed. And so I fussed about, and I went, bubble wrap, that'll do it. And so anyway, this one is, we had had 2 master shows, and so that is in the style of Lautrec, Toulouse-Lautrec.
Cool.
He painted on
Really like
cardboard, very
Yeah.
loose, and did oil color almost like watercolor, so it's very thin, lots of layers. And so that was fun. I would have never done that if we
Yeah,
weren't
it's
doing
beautiful.
themes. So we had cubism and a bunch of different stuff. So it was
Cool.
fun. But then when I was thinking, okay, it's a lot of retail space and it's needed to make more money per square foot. So I came back from somewhere and I heard Kay was on the loose. And so, and so we talked and she said she'd be interested. And I said, why not? I have the space. So this is where we are.
Yeah, so you recently closed and remodeled, or spent a month remodeling.
Yeah, do
And
you want to
just
see or you want me to tell
Reopened
you about
today.
it?
Tell me about it, and then I do want to see it. But yeah, tell me about it for the people who are just
Sorry.
going to listen to it.
I'm
It's
crunching
okay.
those.
It's hot.
So I had, for people who have been here a long time, artists are, for the most part, older because that's when you have the time to practice. So for artists who were practicing in Grand Junction a long time ago, the art on the corner in Grand Junction was started by a group of sculptors when they were young things, and they put it all together. And Dave Davis was one of those, and he did a thing called Paint the Piece. So I thought, scared, no. So I got a hold of him through Facebook, and I said, can I come? And he said, well, sure. So we formed a relationship that way, and he had the walls that I have in there.
Okay.
And he knew I was doing the exhibition space, and so he asked me if I wanted to use them. So I got those. So I've had those. So those are from Dave, and I have 3 of his pieces up front that his daughter just lets me leave here because he was going to enter them in the black and white show, and they're my favorites of his. I call them the White Girls. I don't know why he called them, but they're drywall speckle on canvas, and they're beautiful.
Oh, cool.
So they're
I
in
see
there. I'll
those.
show you those.
Okay.
Those right there that you're touching, that
Yeah.
is Mary Mansfield and
Oh.
Tish Collins
Put it
did a
in here.
collaboration. Those are prints that they did, but the originals are huge.
Oh.
And they did a process, epoxy resin and graffiti paint.
Very cool.
And the giant, and then they sanded. I've had a couple of the originals in here for shows, but they are beautiful, but they're large. And so, anyway, those are some of Mary's prints right there.
So is the idea to make it more, less of a monthly exhibition and more of like a permanent gallery space
Yes.
where you have permanent artists?
Yes. So we did 3-month quarterly exhibitions. They changed, and this is it is permanent. So we're more like traditional gallery gift shop now. So hopefully we'll get some of that traffic. We're down here across the alley on the wrong side of the tracks. But, hopefully with your help and some help, word of mouth help, people will
Yeah.
get down here.
So you're going to do a grand reopening in a couple of weeks. Are you do you ever see in the future doing like, Frida has like third Friday, or some places do first Friday or things like that. Do you think you'll ever do anything like that?
That's been talked about quite a bit. There's more traffic at night here, but as you probably see, we don't have traffic at night. The streets roll up. So there's been events, and Kay was one of the ones who helped push Art and Chocolate Walk, and so and the Blue Pig birthday, and so when they had things, there would be things at night with art and food, but Palisade has changed some, so it's changing, but there's still not heavy foot traffic here. So you have to kind of weigh that a bit when you're a business owner and figure out what makes the most financial sense.
Yeah.
There's a balance between, you have to be open, but you also have to make enough money to be open.
Right.
So there's a balance there that it's changing. but I still don't see a whole lot. Back to the question. Some of the artists here have talked about, what do they call it? Thursdays or something. And I think the artists that are participating are going to be doing working while they're here, especially Sunday markets, because the Sunday market, the town, it has an emergency exit down the alley, so the market blocks right there, and so it's kind of like, okay, don't go past here. So we're working on that, but in the meantime, if people can work outside and, you know, just draw or whatever outside, it attracts people, and then maybe we can get more in. Plus, we have probably 20 plus artists, but we would have those for our exhibitions too, but these are more serious artists, so I see a lot more participation in helping get the word out.
Okay, sure. So like they're motivated to draw
very
people in here because they're here
very excited, very enthusiastic. When artists that you have had a lot of life experience, they aren't shy about jumping right in there and getting things done, and they don't worry about much, and they know what works, and so we have a ton of experience over there to help with things, and I'll need it because it's a much bigger operation than what I had before.
You've referred to Kay a couple of times, so who's Kay?
Kay Crane is, she started with the Blue Pig when it was at the library. It was there, and that's when a lot of artists started there, much younger than all of us, but they were there, and then when the building on the corner sold, that buyer bought the Blue Pig business as well, so it moved over. So Kay was the director there for a long time, and so she has a huge contact list and a lot of experience. When she said she'd come here, I was like, I think I need you because I'm spread too thin. So she could come help.
I noticed the mural outside. Is that a new mural?
No, that's been there for a long time.
I saw the picture of Kay with it, and I was like, is that new?
Isn't it cool?
It is really cool.
I love that.
What's the story behind that?
The story. Because we are on the wrong side of the alley, since I came here trying to attract people down this way. So when I opened the gallery in 2016, I thought, okay, we need to do something. So I was looking for a muralist. That's Matt Goss did that for me from Uncanny Valley. He owns that gallery, I think still. Okay. I think he does. And he came out at night and did that mural. So I was in Savannah. We were taking a tour, and I went past this building that had protesters, and it was Prohibition. And it was old looking, and I was just attracted to that. And so Matt and I collaborated. I wanted more funny stuff. He wanted, you know, we want art, so we kind of compromised. So I have some funny stuff up there too on the sign, so it's supposed to make you look. So we did that, and if you look outside, it's got Matt's signature, and I think the year he did it on it. And then Rondo needed more stuff, so he put up storage sheds. So my great idea of having something, you can't see it.
Right.
But, you know, we try. We all try. We do what we can.
Gotta get a mural on the sheds now, like, and make it extend down.
Just keep it all going so it goes on around.
Yeah.
You know, he needed the space, and it's fine. It's not a big deal, but it did block my mural. So you have to kind of know somebody who knows somebody to notice it.
So it's sort of a vintage look of ladies protesting. They say, we want art.
There's men protesting too. You have to look.
I need to look more closely.
Yeah. Some of them say, I want beer. There's an old lady that the sign sideways. It says, my arms are tired. And I think we have one reference to Napoleon Dynamite. Clear in the back, like vote for Pedro or something like that. So there's little nuggets in there you have to look for.
I'm going to look at it on the way back.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed that you do is an art drawing, which I think is pretty cool. Is that something you're going to keep doing going forward?
Thank you for noticing that. Yeah. Yes. I have highly experienced professional agents So we have past clients, and a lot of my business is repeat or past. So in 20 years, it's a lot of people. So we I think we have maybe the last 8 years, names in a bucket, and once every quarter we draw a name. So if you look back through there, you see these different people holding, they won. So that's fun. And the real estate office buys them.
So they get to pick whatever they want. Within reason?
Yeah, within reason. So it's a $300.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right. I could see you
Yeah. In the beginning, cool. I picked, I would pick what I was offering as a prize, and then art's very subjective. So I thought it's better if they just come pick. So they do. So you see Buck Bracken. Did you see the one he has the vase?
The vase? Yeah. Yeah.
So I've known Buck a long time. He's an old farmer, and I sold his property, sold his home here in town, helped him out quite a bit. So he's a friend, and he won. And so he came in, and we didn't have things that he liked. And I was like, well, you got to pick something. That vase was one of the first pieces that we bought for the office in 2004. It has been riding around with me forever. And because I needed space, I started just hauling things out of here because I needed to make room. And he's like, I really like that, I think. And I was like, okay, then there you go.
That works.
Just come pick anything. Take anything.
I like the idea, though. It's fun.
Yeah.
And also, it's just another way to give the artist some more publicity. Yeah. And it's kind of fun to see what people pick.
Well, and it's a nice thank you to people who use us on the other side, too. So.
Yeah. So tell me about real estate. So you said you've been working real estate here for 20 years? In the Grand Valley, not just Palisade, right?
No, it's always been Palisade.
Always Palisade. Wow.
So when I moved here,
cool.
I was 44, and I thought I had skills because I was an IT person. I had been a librarian. I ran a restaurant, a successful restaurant. So I was like, I have something to offer. Nobody else thought I had anything to offer. My real estate agent was taking me around, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Could I make this much money, X amount of dollars? And she said, oh, yeah. And so I talked to my husband. He's always like, you need to, and he's like, you should sell real estate. And I didn't know what else to do. A lot of realtors end up in the profession that way. They hit, and they're like, I don't know what to do. I can't, and so you figure it out. And so that's how I came to real estate, plus the entrepreneurial thing, kind of works. So
in that time, you've definitely seen a lot of change here. You've probably worked with a huge majority of the people who have sold their houses here, or bought houses.
We were thinking about a marketing campaign for us, and we were laughing because it's like me peeking around a corner going, I know your house.
Yeah, right?
I've been in your house.
Yeah, you probably
but it's
have
true.
That, right?
It's true. I mean, some people have lived here forever, and I have not, but a majority. We have a lot I've been in a lot of the homes. So,
how have you seen things change over those years?
The general population, the last 5-6 years, maybe more. You interviewed Laura. So about the time that Laura and Brandon came here, there was kind of an influx of city people, for lack of a better word. And so I had 3 agents here that had moved here from somewhere else, and they've all brought their friends, and word has gotten out. The marketing is a huge part, and that's been going on for 20 years. There's been Cave has promoted the area, the Chamber of Commerce. We had a chamber director who was huge on relationships and pushing, and the tourism board, but it takes a while. And I saw the tip about 6 years ago. So our population is different. It was hobby farmers, usually either double income, no kids, or people whose kids had just left home. So they were retiring here and just and farming. a lot of farming, and the people I see now is just not, it's not the same. You know, they're people who are doing what you're doing, or, you know, like Laura, or it's just a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Plus, there's, however, I think there's 70 rooftops in Crest Haven, which is, you know, 70 homes with people and cars. And it happened, it took a while for that to get going, but I always knew if we had something to sell, because out here, people move here when they're retired, and they fix the house up, and then they die there. And so what I have to sell is a house that needs some work.
Yeah.
And we didn't have anything really, you know, very
That
many
was
new.
like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Fruit and Wine did Palisade Vineyard subdivision, so the one by the high school. We did that one. An agent in my office did Blue Sage, so that one. And we did Montclair. And those were new. And now when I go in, they go, this needs updating, you know.
So fast.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, so the Crest Haven, just having more homes, new homes, because the biggest market is for homes like that.
Sure.
You know, where you can go to work, you come home, there's not a lot of yard, and they don't need a lot of upkeep. So there was a big market for it, and I knew there would be, and there they are.
Yeah.
So it's changed.
Right.
Thanks.
Right. And then after that, they put the hold or moratorium on subdivision development, and so that must have changed what you do a lot too.
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
Palisade is 1 square mile. So, you know, there's still property that can be subdivided, but that push, we need to absorb that in everything: roads, traffic, school, infrastructure. All of that needs to absorb that, and so I'm okay with it. It's never been, you know, my drive. I work here because that's not my drive. So my broker said, she worked with conservation easement, and she did a big sale, 200 acres up on the hill. That's what the money she used to come here, and the land trust was out here. And so when she was talking like that, I thought I could do that. You know, the big stuff, you know, the subdivision push, that kind of thing. It just really isn't my style. I don't mind that they're doing it thoughtfully and not, you know, just going, yeah, you know, let's get everybody in here and do everything. Because what has happened in the last 5 years is a lot for the people who've lived here for a long time.
Oh, I'm sure.
So a little pause to let people adjust is a good thing. So, but a lot of changes, you know, the wineries and things, they made wine and sold it. What, they weren't event centers, and now that's what you have to do to make money. I understand that.
Yes.
There's music everywhere, there's food everywhere, and that's all new. So but even like the Clarks, I know them and, you know, respect them, and they put in the distillery and the wine and the wedding venue and stuff out there. It's just kind of where the market was, and smart farmers like the Talbots, and you know, they go where the market is, and that's where the market is now. It wasn't before, but it is now. So
interesting. What's your favorite property that you've ever worked with, or favorite person you've ever worked with in real estate?
I can't tell you.
It's a secret.
No, it's just, you know, real estate is I didn't get a chance to sell it. My favorite property is one I can't tell you about. It's fabulous.
Oh.
So behind that,
second favorite.
Yeah, second to
Okay.
Out behind Clark's, there's a contemporary house out there, and it was Rancho Durazno. They're an organic farmer out that way, and him and his wife built it, and then they sold it. And these people that came from Craig, very homey, comfort, you know, but they bought it, and it is outstanding.
Is it right on the river?
It's right on the canal.
Right on the canal, okay.
So if you go, well, there's a couple back there actually, but how would I tell you? Where the Clark's fruit stand is at. If you go just due east, there's a rocket in the yard, so it's across a canal, so it's not a traveled road, but if you walk on the canal or go up behind Clark's, you'll see this big rocket, and it's on their property. So they have bikes that have rabbits on them, and she just has a great aesthetic.
Awesome.
And so they've taken this contemporary house, and it has the warmth of an old Victorian, but it's totally contemporary, and it is really something. And then there's one right back behind them that is, it was built, we sold the land to the people years back, and they built a nice home, and it's really pretty. There's some things tucked away that are surprising. And I have always thought, just like rooftops, if we had new things to sell, people would come. And I never worry when people put a lot of money into their home if you're in the right location, because there's a reservoir of high-end buyers that haven't had anything to buy here. And so when those come up, they sell pretty strong and well.
Yeah. And it's really cool to see what people do with their places. I think one of the things, so I just published Laura's episode today, so you haven't had a chance to listen to it. But
No.
one of the things that she mentioned that she found so interesting here compared to where she's worked before is how there aren't comparable houses. Like
None.
There's no comparable,
None.
like there's no comps.
So when I go in, I go, well, my gut says, and it's after this amount of time, it's usually right. And then you have one where there just happened that reservoir of buyers, you know, that have money, occasionally drop in and overpay for something. And when you have this small a market, it really messes with your averages.
Yeah.
So that makes it hard too. But yeah, there's no comps. And Laura did subdivisions in Denver and was very good at it. And she's like, what? I went, oh, you'll get it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, but it makes it really challenging
Yeah.
for appraising and making sure everything holds up. And I thought that was interesting when she said that. And as soon as she said that, and now what you're talking about with the different properties, you really start to see that. Like it is, every property is pretty unique.
The largest buyer pool is for subdivision homes. That's where the main is at. And we don't have that. And older subdivisions is next. We have a little bit of that, but not really.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. Well, and what I think is really fun, so my husband and I managed to get an older house built in 1909.
Where did you buy?
We're right by the brewery.
Hold on. Is it blue?
It was blue. We painted it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was blue and silver checkerboard.
Is it real pretty inside? Oh no, blue and silver checkerboard. I'm thinking of the one right behind you.
You're thinking the really cute one. Yes, I love that one. Cute. No, ours was a little rough.
Oh, you got the checkerboard.
Yeah, we got one that was a little rough around the edges.
Good.
But what I think is so cool though is like everybody downtown, everybody you meet who has bought one of these really old houses, you just have all the same problems.
Oh yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, my wiring was also a disaster. Oh, my wiring was a disaster.
Yeah. And maybe your foundation's messed up. Who knows? And you know, maybe you have knob and tube. Maybe it's all right. It'll be all right. Sure. But any homes that are that old all have the same thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun though because we do have this stock of really old homes downtown, and people want to live here, so you buy what you have, and then
And when they're fixed up, they are really cute and very unique. Very, very unique.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's tastes are different. So, even within the same structure, they're not subdivision homes. They're all they have personalities.
Yeah, I love it personally. For the future real estate market or the future of Palisade, like how do you see things changing, like in the next 5 years or so?
Well, historically, we're due for correction. But I've been thinking that was going to happen for 5 years now. And so it's hard to tell. You know, interest rates being high and the prices are still holding high. It's really, it's really putting a pressure on people who aren't well-moneyed, can't get homes, and the people who have money are buying investment homes, which brings me to VRBO. Thank you, town, or we would be one big motel room, no lie.
I know.
1 square mile of motel.
Right.
And so I'm happy that they did that.
Me too. Yeah, because you would completely lose the character of your town and our town. And I've been places where they never had a cap on VRBOs, and it just completely changes the feel, and people can't buy entry-level houses.
Mm-mm. Oh, no.
It's even hard here as it is, so
yes,
just imagine what it would have been like. Yeah.
When the market turned last time, the highest priced old house in town was $200,000. And I thought, what? And the last one, I remember the last one that sold at that price, and I went, oh no, that hurts. Ouch. Yeah. And then it took 8 years, 9 years for it to come back to 200. And then in 2020, everybody lost their mind. And it was like, what? Locational cures. If I run over here or run over there or whatever, then life will be better. Everybody lost their mind. And so what would have been maybe time for a natural correction turned into this big bump instead. And I don't know if it's going to hold or not. I really don't. It's like I was saying, the newer people just have a different sensibility, and it's a new generation, and so we'll see what that does. But I know you have to make so much money to do a $4,000 a month house payment. Come on, who can do that?
I know.
Who?
I don't know. I ask the question everywhere. Like,
I can't
anywhere else. I'm like, who is affording these houses? So just for you personally, like, what do you feel like is missing in Palisade that you would really love to see here?
Nothing. And it was fine with me 10 years ago. So I'm real excited that I can go get a taco somewhere, We had a great little Palisade cafe, was open in the morning, farmers, where Pesha's at was a tea house. When they did English style teas, and then she wasn't there, and then Inari's bought it, and they were great. I loved them. That was like, woo, this is great. And so I'm good.
Yeah.
We lived in Grand Lake for a long time, and so you had to drive 2 hours to buy underwear, and so I went to town once a month, and we power shopped. We called it power shopping, and loaded the car to the gills, and the kids squished in, and that's what we did. And I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So,
well, and there too, you could always have a chance of getting snowed in the winter, and maybe the pass is closed or something.
Babies.
Oh, you get through it.
Oh yeah. I had little kids at home, and I had a rear wheel drive station wagon.
Oh my gosh.
And it was old. It's fine.
That's
babies.
Awesome. It's all about knowing how to drive. Yeah.
I don't know that I couldn't do it now. I was young and stupid. But then it was like, whatever, we got to get where we're going. Load up. Let's go. It was good. I loved it.
So this is completely different though. Grand Lake, cold, kind of high elevation mountain climate to the desert.
I was born here. So I came back when my parents my dad got sick. And I came back, and my mom just died in March. So they stayed here. So I went to school here. I graduated from Central High School. So, yeah.
Yeah. So the homecoming.
It's my home. I'm Colorado native. So
awesome.
4th generation, I was figuring the other day. So. No, lie. I lie. My grandson is 4th generation. I am 2nd generation.
Okay.
So, yeah. So edit that, because I don't want to lie. I've been here since the beginning of time.
Well, I don't know who's going to fact check you. It would have to be a family member.
Yeah,
or
that's true. They go liar. big liar.
Yeah.
But no, I'm second generation. I just did a trip with my grandkids and we were talking about it, and I was like, "You're fourth generation." So,
do you have like a favorite Palisade story or piece of Palisade history that you've heard along the way? Working here?
Let me think. My mother. So there used to be packing sheds all along the railroad tracks. Did you know that?
Yeah, like where? Well,
Yeah.
I think the only one left probably is what Ordinary Fellow kind of took over. And
Yeah, the building on the other side of the street was a peach co-op, and where my first office was a peach co-op. So all the farmers came down and brought their peaches, and there were, I think Lois Clark told me she was, so they had salespeople. So farmers bring them down, the salespeople would go all over the United States and sell these peaches. And ice, put them in the cars and have ice in the cars. Well, my grandmother worked in a packing shed there. And my mom was very Puritan, and she was telling me a story about her being there, being under the table, and stealing cigarettes from the migrant workers. And I went, what? I just learned this like last year. And so, yeah, just the idea of, that.
that's pretty funny.
I packed peaches here. I worked at a flower nursery where they pollinated off of G Road. I rode my bike there, and they had these, it was huge greenhouse, all these flowers, and you have a hose and suck the pollen
Oh my
off.
gosh.
It was horrible. I didn't last long.
That sounds like really hard work.
It was hot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, that's probably my favorite is my grandma worked in those packing sheds, and my mom was not a good girl.
That's really cute.
I thought you could have told me that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Saved
Yeah,
me
right.
a lot of grief.
You could
Anyway,
have teased her about that for years.
well, she's gone.
Yeah.
But I did, I just tucked it in. And I thought, yeah, I know you.
Well, is there anything that I missed about you or your business that you want to share with anybody listening?
I know your house.
And the look you gave me was...
Nobody knows it better. But realtors last about 3 years, 5 years. And so there's about a 70% attrition when people get their license. So when you've worked with people a long time, agents in the business across the valley that started before me or around the same time, I don't know, Patty may know as much as me, but probably not. She might know your house too.
Yeah.
There's two of us old ladies.
You know where things are stored.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And do you work with buyers and sellers?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I
Yeah,
write
we
that
do.
correctly.
We do ranch, farm, commercial, residential.
Whatever.
So since I've been here, I just do whatever business comes and do what I need to do to be able to represent it. So we've been lucky enough. We sold Grand River. We sold Herman Fruit. We've sold a lot of nice homes along the way. And finally, after 20 years, I feel it takes a long time to get trust in a small town. And maybe the new influx, it won't be as bad because there's a lot of people, so you can kind of, mix together. But when you're one of the few that come, it takes a long time. So I feel like we've earned the trust. And so I know your house. I've earned your trust. Please use us.
That's the new tagline.
It's unique,
Yeah.
right? Would it get your attention?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Might be scary. But no, we laugh about
That is
that a
scary.
lot.
Thank you so much for your time. I
Thank you
appreciate
for your time.
reaching out to me.
Yeah, I'm
It's good to
scared.
meet you. Why?
Because I never know how it's going to be. But I know you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, and thank you for allowing me to do this with you. When I first saw your stuff, I thought, she's doing it right. And so when Laura said she interviewed, she goes, just ask her. And I thought, good, because of all the things that I see going on, I like what you're doing. So.
Awesome.
May I show you around the gallery?
I'd love to, yeah. So let me stop this. And then we went next door into the gallery and ran into Lisa Moose Krull of Dancing in My Head Photography. This is one of the big reasons why I love Palisade. But back to the gallery. It's a large open room filled with art from over 20 artists, hanging on freshly painted walls, with great light filtering in from the windows that open out onto 3rd Street. Go check it out for yourself at 128 East 3rd Street in downtown Palisade. If you'd like to be on the podcast, or if you have an idea for an upcoming episode, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me at lisa@postcardsfrompalisade.com, on Instagram, or on Facebook at Postcards from Palisade, the podcast. Thanks for listening. With love, from Palisade.